A new
Man, I ain't even combed
hairstylist,
my hair
son.
yet, man. I'm up. I'm dressed. I'm in the office. I ain't even combed my hair yet, man. I still got to go on the air. I ain't got much of it left, but I'm holding on to it like George Jefferson tried to. I'm holding on to it.
January
Nigga,
11th, Stephen A's new show on ESPN Plus. Now, here's the question, Stephen A.
yes, sir.
You help keep the lights on at ESPN, and we at ESPN, we all have a lot of love for Stephen A. for the ratings you generate and you have for many years. Now, is there pressure on you? Are they saying, yo, Stephen A., we need you to bring these eyeballs to ESPN Plus, the paid platform?
Well, no question about it. And especially when, my new show is going to be called Stephen A's World. And it's a new venture for me because I'm not only the host of the show, I'm the executive producer, and my production company, Mr. SAS Productions, show. And so there's a lot of things that, that I've been working on in terms of starting my own production company, helping to create content. There's a lot of things coming down the pike, but it all starts with this because obviously, me working for ESPN, doing First Take every day, my NBA show, which debuts for this season tomorrow night, Sports Center with Stephen A., which comes on most Wednesdays. I got to do that. I got to do First Take. Plus I got to do this. And so, I understand what comes with it. And of course there's pressure because so many people have been raving about the fact that Disney Plus did over 85 million subscribers in its first year. ESPN Plus was at 11.5. And so for me, I look at it as, okay, it's, they looking at me and, Kevin Durant had the boardroom and Kobe, God bless his soul, had detail, and Peyton Manning has been doing detail and stuff like that. So there's some content on ESPN Plus, and plus the UFC is UFC. We get all of that. But in terms of that daily content, you haven't had that. And so for them to ask me to do this, we understand what this is about. We understand that this is to build subscribers. And you know me, Peter, you know how I roll, especially you, Ebro, as well. I'm about winning.
That's right.
And whatever the criteria is to win, that's the mandate that I have. I've been blessed and fortunate to be very, very successful over the last decade. But this is a new venture, and none of that means a damn thing if I flop at this as far as I'm concerned. This is a new challenge. This is my first foray into executive producing and co-producing as a production company. My number two is Rashawn McDonald, who used to manage Steve Harvey for years, along with the A-team staff at ESPN. So I'm not alone. But ultimately, the bottom line is because of that A-team that I have available and because they know what they're doing, when those lights come on, it all comes down to me. And that's the way I want it, and that's the way it is.
So, Stephen A., what on the Stephen A's World, how is this different than what the content that we already get from you?
For me, I think it's going to be a little bit more lighthearted because, to be quite honest with you, I'll confess to you guys that I have a dream and an aspiration that I don't even know if I'm qualified to pull off, Ebro. But I will tell you that I've always wanted to do late night. I've always I want to be like I have so much admiration for Arsenio Hall and what he did at a time when Jay Leno and David Letterman was on the air. And I grew up idolizing Johnny Carson was one of my favorite people to watch. And then to see Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel and those boys doing what they do. Ultimately, I have an aspiration. It's a long way off in all likelihood, but I have an aspiration to ultimately do late night. Well, the first order of business is to show your lighthearted side, Yeah, you're going to see me with my takes and, I don't give a damn what plus signal you attach to it or whatever. When those four letters are ESPN, the number one priority you have is to deliver sports content. They can slice it any way they want to. Peter knows this. You don't get to deviate from sports. When you look at that Disney bundle package, well, Disney's Disney. It got everything. Well, that's family. That's Mickey Mouse. And there's certain content that ain't going to be on Disney. You want a bit risque, you're going to have to go to the Hulu side of it all. You see what I'm saying? And then when you're looking for sports, it's going to be ESPN. So how do you put the plus in plus? It's by deviating from the norm and showing other facets of your personality. And so for me, it's going to try to be fun. It's going to be a little bit lighthearted. You see people laughing at me when I used to do that Love Doctor segment because I used to steal it from Martin Lawrence, because Martin Lawrence is one of my all-time favorite comedians. And my favorite episode was when he was the Love Doctor and he found out about Pam and Tommy messing with each other at the end, which I thought was hilarious. So I used to do that on my radio show. People used to love that baby Stephen A character where I'm going off and stuff like that, and they attach the baby face and alter my voice and stuff like that. You're gonna see things like that along with various other things included in the show. But the other thing is going to be interviews and just being lighthearted, promoting what other people are doing, talking about the things that they want to talk about, celebrating them, and being a bit more lighthearted, because I bring the rain all the time. And there's a facet to my personality that people don't see enough of, which is I like to laugh. I like to smile. I'm just not phony about it. I can't just be cheesing for the camera because they tell you the lights come on. Hell with that. I laugh when something's funny. I smile when something makes me smile. If something pisses me off, then I show that I'm pissed off. I try to give as authentic a view of me as possible, but I want to also show that part of my authenticity is being a bit lighthearted, knowing how to laugh and smile and have a good time. And I want the people that's going to come on my show to know that about me and to know that about the show. Ain't no gotcha kind of situations or anything like that. Gonna have fun, gonna have a good time, and just do what we do.
Stephen A's World, January 11th is the date.
Yeah. January 11th, right, Stephen?
Yes, sir. Monday.
Do you ever process sometimes, like, you know, when Stephen comes on the K show, you're pretty regular on the K show. Yep. We've joked, you know, you've known Michael K for a very long time.
Yeah, and Don Juan LaGreca. I'm the one that gave him Don Juan. I gave him that name.
And you know Donovan, and they've watched you go from being a colleague, regular colleague, to, let's be real, you are one of the most recognizable faces on television. Ebro, wouldn't you agree? I mean,
yeah, easy.
Steven, your face, like, has it gotten crazy for you at all over the years just walking down the street in terms of how visible you are?
Hell yeah. And here's the hard part. Like look at y'all right now, for example, right? Y'all got this morning show, and Ebro gonna look the way he look every time he look. I don't know whether Ebro, he's trying to be Abraham Lincoln from time to time. The beard just keep growing and all that stuff. Ebro's gonna be who he is. He's the same dude that I've known him to be. Pete, ever since I met you, you're the same dude I know you to be. You're very relaxed. You're in a relaxed environment, but you know you come to work, you do your thing. And that's what I try to show. And that's why I work. You know, it's the relationships that I have are so important to me, because you have to have people who validate that you are who you are. I love it when people go up to my college teammates or my high school buddies or my childhood buddies, and they're like, you know, same dude we grew up with. It's the same dude we went to school with. Yep, that's him. That's who he is. There's different facets of my personality, but you never look at me and say, I don't know that dude. That's not the dude I know. I've never known him to be this way or that way. No one says that about me, and that's incredibly important to me. So I answer your question by saying, yeah, it's gotten crazy, but it's gotten crazy because of other people. It ain't got crazy because of me. I still go to White Castle. I still cheat with the White Castle. I still eat. I'm not supposed to be eating the damn Crunch Berries, but damn it, it's hard. Okay, it's hard. You know, I mean, you'll see me walking down the street. You'll see me before COVID going to a movie theater. You'll see me, you know, just shopping or whatever. I don't give a damn, because, you know, it's important to me that people look at me and know you can trust me. You can trust that I am who you know me to be. And I'm talking about the people who know me. You see what I'm saying? I'm not talking about Joe Blow in the street to just see me on TV. I'm talking about if they spoke to Peter is not going to look at, you know, I remember Stephen A 10 years ago. I don't know who this guy is now. Michael K and Don Juan is not going to be like, you know, Stephen A, you know, we were in this business the last 20 years together. Who the hell is this guy now? I can't tell. They will tell you, Ebro will tell you, when we was working together, I haven't changed. It's just that I recognize and I am aware of the fact that the profile has gotten bigger. And what I find myself doing a lot of times is checking people who try to change on me. I never forget when I signed my new contract last year, and one of my boys called up, and I went off on him because he was sending him in, and now, you know, you got a responsibility. And I said, man, shut the hell up. What the hell you mean I got a responsibility? What responsibility do I have now that I didn't have a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, 5 years ago? I'm in the same job. So now that I'm getting paid a little bit more, now you want to sit up there and tell me that I got my responsibility has elevated? Damn that. That's you. You understand? That's why you sitting where you sitting and I'm sitting where I'm sitting, because I'm not losing perspective of who I am. I don't believe if Ebro and you sign a new deal and y'all get a 5-year multi-million-dollar deal to do this show and all of this other stuff. Oh, now I'm going to call you and say you got responsibility when you've been doing the same damn job for the last 3, 4, 5 years. That doesn't make sense. That's people trying to impose their will upon you. And you can't let that happen. You got to make sure you stay grounded and you're about the business of that grind. My grind has not changed. I'm just being more rewarded and recognized for it now. But the work that I put in, the grind that I'm on, maintains its consistency. And that's what I try to make sure that I remind everybody of.
And also, when Stephen A. is after a basketball game, when you see Stephen A. about to do a little segment, that is not the time to try to stop him if you know him and talk to him.
Did you do that?
Not me. I've seen people do that, and I've seen people Stephen A. give him the illest mean mug, queen stiff arm, like, yo, my man, I'm focused right now. Well, no, because to them it's a basketball game, right? The basketball game's over. I see my man Stephen A. He that's my guy. I want to go talk to him. Yeah. Stephen A., and everybody knows Stephen A. because he's been around a while. So people try to come up to him that's sitting on the good seats and have a conversation right before he's about to go on camera.
Do a Sports Center hit?
Yes.
Yes. All the time. And I'm like, yo, bro, I got to do my hit. You want to shout out.
Nah. Let me get this photo. They trying to pull out the Instagram.
Yeah, like, wait. You know what I'm saying? A photo with you does not come before my hit that pays my bills.
Well, and not only that, but I'm live. This is live, y'all. This is right now. I can't put this on hold.
Live. Literally. It's security got to stop it.
All right, so Stephen A., let's get to it.
Yeah.
Big story today. 7 games into the NBA season. Knicks fans, Thibodeau, they if the playoffs started tomorrow.
That's a good imitation of me, man. I got to have a segment on my show where I give people an opportunity to imitate me, man.
If the playoffs started tomorrow, my Knicks.
Right. I'm pleased. I'm pleased with what I'm seeing from the Knicks right now. Listen, they still can't shoot worth the damn half the time. But they're playing together. They're playing incredibly hard. Julius Randle has been impressive. Austin Rivers has hit some big shots, particularly the last 2 games against Indy and against Atlanta last night. I watched both games. This guy Emmanuel Quigley out of Kentucky, he was impressive last night. IQ, no doubt. I like that nigga. IQ, just right. But I will tell you this. Do I expect it to continue? No, because I don't think they're talented enough. But I can't say enough about the job Tom Thibodeau and his staff is doing. I can't say enough about the job Julius Randle is doing thus far and Austin Rivers is doing so far. They play together and they play hard and they defend.
So, all right, so Stephen A., let me stop you. Let me stop you right there. As a lifelong Knicks fan, in a basketball town like New York City where the media is rough and the expectations are high. Right. This franchise, the Knicks, is trying to rebuild and get their swag, find out what they will be for the future. Shouldn't fans and shouldn't the media try to focus on what you just pointed out, even if let's say things turn terrible for the rest of the season, right? The expectation should be aligned with the capabilities that they have.
That's true, but you also have to remember, if it's aligned with the capabilities you have, Ebro, then you shouldn't be god-awful. You cannot be very good, but not god-awful. In other words, the night in, night out, hardcore desire to compete. Let me tell you what some people don't bring up, and even y'all may have missed and I have missed sometimes, that we don't need to miss. Do you know why New Yorkers are so hard on the Knicks? It's not just because of their ineptitude. It's also because of how dysfunctional they appear to be, to a point where the effort doesn't seem to be there, not just the skill set, the organization. I's are not dotted and T's have not been crossed. And the reason why we miss that is because if you remember when Pat Riley first arrived in the early 90s to take over the Knicks, he was coaching Showtime. And then after that, he took a little break, was doing a little TV. And then ultimately he became the coach of the New York Knicks. You looking at that team, they were not that impressive from a talent perspective. But if y'all recall, do you remember the moment when they pushed the Chicago Bulls to 7 games, and Xavier McDaniel was on the Knicks, and he and Michael Jordan were nose to nose, and Michael Jordan telling him F you, all of that other stuff. The New York Knicks didn't have talent. What they had was Rough Riders that said, we ain't backing up from nobody. We coming for you. We don't give a damn who you are. And it took every ounce of talent plus heart to hold them off. And that's when we fell in love with the Knicks again. Because if you remember in the 80s, they drafted Patrick Ewing. They had Rick Pitino for a short while. Mark Jackson was a rookie point guard, rookie of the year, all of this other stuff. But when we really, really began to fall in love with the Knicks again was when Pat Riley first arrived. Because even though they didn't have the talent and they was
knuckling up with everybody.
They were Rough Riders, and we ain't backing down from nobody. We coming for you. And you had cats scared to play them.
Now, Thibodeau is that type of coach.
He's that type of coach. And so what I'm saying is that's why I brought up that analogy, because when you look at the Knicks, you're like, all right, they ain't Brooklyn. They ain't, Boston and Philly and LA and Denver and all these. But you know what? They play hard. They defend. They go after it. Hell, this team might be able to be a 500 team. Who knows? I mean, they might be able to win 36 games. And if they do that, oh my goodness, all of a sudden you see the upside, and God help, because remember, we'll be satisfied with that from them. The pressure's in Brooklyn.
That's right.
Pressure's in Brooklyn.
Not a good week, by the way, in Brooklyn, huh?
Not at all. Not at all. Kyrie is averaging 26. Kevin Durant is averaging 28. Here's the deal. Kyrie Irving has taken 3 more shots than Kevin Durant per game. Kyrie Irving has taken more shots in the fourth quarter than Kevin Durant. Kyrie Irving is not as efficient, even though he's got impressive numbers. He's not as efficient as Kevin Durant. This is Kevin Durant's team, but Kevin Durant has to stake claim to that. And that's really what this comes down to. Now, it's early and we understand that, but here's the problem. This is what you have people saying about the Brooklyn Nets at this moment in time. They may have some depth, but they're pretty soft defensively. And Steve Nash is a novice at this particular moment in time because he's never coached on any level. And when you combine that with Mike D'Antoni being your lead assistant,
all offense, no defense.
People are talking about your defense,
that's right,
or lack thereof. It becomes problematic because offensively they got talent to dance on anybody. We see what KD. I told you KD gonna average 25 in the sleep. The brother's surreal, all right. And Kyrie Irving is just spectacular in these box office, but because they are who they are, you're in the Eastern Conference. Anything less than a berth to the finals is unacceptable. And that's what you're going to find. See, the New York Knicks, by having Brooklyn, we've been looking at it potentially wrong. We've been looking at, oh my goodness, the Knicks stink. The Brooklyn Nets are the bomb. We good. All right. It's just going to highlight New York. But what if New York goes 500? And Brooklyn is better than that, but not good enough to get to the finals. Who's going to be frowned upon? The New York Knicks are going to be seen in a better light than the Brooklyn Nets. And how would KD and Kyrie handle that in this media bubble, this media capital of the world, knowing their personalities are what they are?
Well, and Brooklyn doesn't get the leeway. Brooklyn doesn't get the leeway of being the team that hasn't worked together before. Because it's all new. None of them have worked together in this capacity before. But they don't get that leeway because they're superstars. All of them.
Yes. Well, it's not just that they're superstars. They chose this.
That's right.
They came to New York. KD decided to leave Golden State and come to New York. And let's be real. Because this is New York City, even though Brooklyn is Brooklyn, and we get all that. They one of the boroughs. We understand. The bottom line is you're going to have a lot of New Yorkers who hold it against them that they chose Brooklyn instead of the Garden. So they ain't going to be anxious to give them any kind of love unless they earn it by winning. You see what I'm saying? You're just not going to have that. You got a lot of people like, wait a minute, man. I mean, Brooklyn is Brooklyn, but how the hell you going to pass up MSG? How the hell you going to pass up Madison Square Garden and the brand that is the New York Knicks? Well, they said, the hell with that. This is Brooklyn. We going to do our own thing. Fair enough. We'll go ahead and do it. And if your own thing ain't championship,
it don't matter.
You're going to find an elevated level of cynicism and skepticism kicking in like they don't believe. This ain't Cleveland. This ain't Boston. This ain't Golden State. This ain't OKC. No, bro, this is New York City. This is New York City. You can't come to New York where expectations don't live up to it, and things gonna be comfortable for you around here.
Now here go another layer that Kyrie got to deal with. The big conversation over the last week, the point guard rivalry, Dame Lillard, Steph Curry. Steph Curry this week, lights out.
Bananas.
Shined on Dame Lillard. Shined on him.
I mean, 62.
On him.
Well, that's one game.
I know it's one game, but it's important. It's important for momentum, right? It's important for momentum, right? It's important for perception. It's important for
And Steph was tired of people sleeping. People worried Steph's not going to be Steph again. So I think that was a big moment for him.
Let me tell y'all something, man. I've been watching basketball, been involved in basketball, tried to play basketball all my life. I ain't never seen no shooter like Steph Curry.
That's right.
Ever in my life. He's the greatest shooter known to man. And to me, I'm not being hyperbolic. You can't show me one human being on the planet Earth that I have ever seen that can shoot like this kid. He's just that spectacular. And so to me, everybody better buckle up because he averaging 32. These are bad numbers for Steph Curry. I want you to understand this is bad numbers. He's averaging 32 on 45% shooting, 36% shooting from three-point range. Damian Lillard last year shot 40% from three-point range, and he deserves to be celebrated because Damian Lillard is a star and the brother's special. Do you know that Steph Curry shot better than 40% from three-point range the first 10 years of his career? The first 10 years. 40% from three-point range. This brother's unreal.
Crazy.
And so I'm looking at this now, and I want them to understand, people don't get this. Do you understand that Klay Thompson is a Hall of Famer right now?
Mm-hmm.
When that brother comes back, not this season, when he comes back next year, remember, I left this out. Steph Curry, as of before last night's game, was shooting 98% for the free throw line. 98%. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So when I look at it and I'm going like this, man, y'all better jump on this moment because when those two get back together, this kid Wiseman is no scrub, the number 2 overall pick. You got Draymond. Wiggins is no scrub. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm looking at it. I'm going like this. They're going to be in the conference finals next year. If Klay
and
healthy.
Stephen, the reason I bring up this point guard rivalry is because Kyrie, back to New York, he's not in the conversation.
Well, he's not in the conversation because he's been injured. We all know that Kyrie's got the nastiest handle in the game. We all know that brother could score on anybody. One-on-one, his ability to finish at the basket. Kyrie's spectacular. Okay, let's be real about that. The problem is he's gotten in his own way. His willingness to leave Cleveland, perfectly within his right. Things weren't going well. He didn't want LeBron dictating his future. Fair enough. The flip side is that you went to Boston and they looked better without you than they did with you. Now you chose Brooklyn, but everybody knows the only reason Brooklyn wanted you is because you came as a package deal with KD because KD made that very clear. And so as a result of that reality, now you got to go out there. He goes out there after Kobe passes away, drops over 50. We know what he can do, but he only played 20 games last year. And so now we're looking at him and it's like, it's not about your ability. It's about your availability. And it's about your willingness to answer the call on a night in, night out basis and remind the world of your passion to play this game and to show out because Steph Curry signed for over $200 million. When have you ever gotten the remotest impression that Steph Curry wasn't interested in playing? That he had other things.
But he wins.
He's not that guy.
But and they win.
And he wins. But again, you might not have had that support base in Boston because Tatum and Jaylen Brown were too young. You certainly have it now in Brooklyn with KD. There is no excuse. The Brooklyn Nets have no excuse not to be in the NBA Finals. No matter how good Milwaukee is, or Philly, or Boston, they shouldn't be able to beat Brooklyn if Brooklyn got that.
Can that still be true minus Dinwiddie?
Yeah, because of LeVert.
And LeVert is that good. He's a special kid.
Listen. With LeVert, KD, Kyrie in the East. What is your problem? What is your problem?
Drew Holiday and Giannis.
Then we also have to put this on this part we have to put on KD. If LeBron was in that situation, we'd expect it from LeBron.
True.
That's right.
We'd expect. See, this is where we got to be fair to LeBron. And I can be critical of LeBron from time to time, but just as a basketball guy, in certain respects, in terms of shot selections, your hesitancy to go to the free throw line. I'm talking about things that he did years ago. Certainly not now, because LeBron has graduated from all of that. But where we must be fair is just like Hall of Famers used to come up to me and mandate that I hold LeBron and these other stars accountable, just like we would hold them accountable when they were playing and they were stars. We owe it to LeBron to hold anybody who think they deserve to be in his class to the same level of accountability we hold him to, in the interest of fairness. If LeBron was in Brooklyn with Kyrie and Karis LeVert and all of these guys, we would expect it. We expected from him in Cleveland when he had Kyrie and he had Kevin Love, okay, and you had what is it, David Blatt as your coach, who had never coached in the NBA. We expected it from him. We expected it from him when Mike Brown was his coach. We've held him accountable. We have to do the same to KD.
Fair.
Stephen A. Smith, before we let you go, I want to reiterate Stephen A.'s World, ESPN Plus, January 11th. We get a closer look at Stephen A. We're going to learn some things about Stephen A. He's going to show us a side he hasn't shown us before. We're going to have a little bit more fun with Stephen A.
I hope so.
Before we let you go,
I'm
here for you, brother. Always. Listen, was LeVar Ball right
about
everything he set out to do?
Ooh.
You've had many conversations with LeVar Ball. People have been critical of him. He's been very annoying. Media's been annoyed by him.
Yeah, he can be obnoxious, but I personally like him and respect him. I don't agree with everything.
That's right.
I wouldn't have yanked my son out of UCLA. I would not have done that. Had him playing over in Lithuania and all this. I would not have done that. And I certainly would not have acted like what they did in China when his son got into that trouble was no big deal. You go to another country, you got to know how to act. And I don't think you set the right example by trying to brush it aside. You know what I'm saying? But having said that, listen, he is a black man that is a father that had 3 sons at the beginning of the season in the NBA. They don't get into trouble. They don't act like knuckleheads. They act right. They're really good and decent kids, working hard, trying to be the best that they can be. Let's give the man some credit where credit is due. I think that people cross the line when they try to attack this man as a father. All right, his way is a little bit different than ours, but look at his results. And I'm saying by look at his results, look at those kids. It's not just about being NBA players. Look, Lonzo don't act up. Lonzo is liked throughout the NBA. He's considered a really good dude. LaMelo Ball, I've heard nothing but good things about him as a person. LaAngelo as well. When you see that kind of stuff going on, yeah, your father might be a little bit obnoxious. He might have did what he had to do to hold you accountable. But he raised those kids into being good young men, good, productive young men. And when you look at it from that perspective, isn't that what we all aspire to be as fathers? I think so. And so I give him a lot of credit. I give him a lot of respect. And even though I might disagree with him, it's sort of what we were alluding to earlier. You can disagree with something that someone has said or someone has done. It doesn't mean that you get to character assassinate them and allow that to be the defining thing about them when there's so much other things that are good that emanates from them. And I think it's important to recognize that about LeVar Ball. And that is how I treat him. Sometimes he called me as fake as a $3 bill one time, right? But they came on my show a month later and gave me a big hug. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, okay, so what?
He talks a bunch of junk. He talks junk.
Right. That's who he is.
He talks trash. But and I because you've had so many conversations with him, I've never had the pleasure of talking to him. But I did buy my big baller brand shoes to support the movement. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the price is holding nice on eBay. But
if you met him, Ebro, and you talk to him, you might have a different view of him or whatever. I'm not saying you like everything.
No, No.
But you'd respect him, and you certainly wouldn't hate him or anything like that. You really wouldn't.
Well, no, I didn't expect that, because I saw, even back then when he was being annoying on TV and a lot of media was annoyed by him, what I saw was a dude who was basically at the domino table talking trash to everybody, marketing his sons, creating a story, creating a brand and a business, and ultimately trying to get his kids to the NBA.
Yeah.
And he accomplished it.
And he did it. Hey, Stephen A., keep blowing up this ESPN Plus thing, man. Let's get these subscribers up.
That's the goal.
And
That's the goal.
Listen, I just want you to know, I think I was 22-11 in my last 33 picks of the NFL season. So if you're trying to get these winners on your show, you know, I came back and caught and passed Michael and Don in the picks. So listen, I know you're going to do a pick segment. Is that correct?
Yes, I am, and I don't mind, Peter. But let me give you a little bit of words of advice, because you work with Michael K. and Don Juan. Now, first of all, understand Michael K. is the voice of the New York Yankees. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, he's Mr. Baseball, okay?
Yeah, sure.
And then you got Don Juan with the slick hair back and the whole bit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just can't say enough about him. You got to get something going for yourself, Peter.
Oh, you need a look.
Yeah, the look is what I'm talking about, Peter. Like me, I mean, look at me, bro. And then not only that, I got like Stephen A.'s World January 11th. By the way, I'm gonna be on General Hospital, because you know my character's name.
We know
is
how
Brick.
you do. We know how you do.
We'll be on there the 12th and the 13th next week.
All right.
You can catch me on there. I'm acting on soap operas now. You know, so I'm acting on soap operas. But you see what I'm trying to say?
Listen, how about this, Stephen A. Stephen A. You bring me on to do picks. I will wear my Dapper Dan Gucci tuxedo when I come on the show.
I might have to dress you. Remember, when my Michael K. interviewed me one time, I was leaning on a yacht on Biscayne Bay. True story, bro. True story. I was leaning on a yacht. I said, Michael, I was having lunch right over here. You understand? I said, I walked outside the restaurant. I'm leaning on a yacht on Biscayne Bay. I'm doing this just for you, Michael K. That's what I did for. You see what I'm saying? You know, the sunshine and all of that other stuff. You got to have something with you.
I'm gonna bring it. I'm gonna bring it. That's fair advice. Thank you, Stephen.
All right.
Yo, Stephen A. Smith, check him out. Stephen A's World. Also, First Take. You know all that. January 11th. Stephen A., we love you. We're gonna reach out to you in a couple weeks. You know what I'm saying? We want to keep our tabs on